Radio Krishna presents stories about Lord Krishna from the book Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Derived from the Vedic scripture, the Srimad Bhagavatam, they were written in Sanskrit several thousand years ago by Srila Dwaipayan Vyasadeva and were translated into English by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder and spiritual guide of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Your narrator is Amal Bhakta. And now today's episode entitled Lord Shiva Saved from Brikasura. My name is Lord Shiva, and once, many thousands of years ago, after giving a benediction to a demon named Brikasura, the son of Shakuni, was myself entrapped in a very dangerous position. Let me tell you about it. Brikasura was searching after a benediction and trying to decide which of the three presiding deities to worship in order to get it. In the meantime, he happened to meet the great sage Narrated and consulted with him as to whom he should approach to achieve quick results from his austerity. He inquired,
"Of the three deities, namely Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva, who is most quickly satisfied?"
Narad could understand the plan of the demon, and he advised him, "You had better worship Lord Shiva. Then you will quickly get the desired result. Lord Shiva is very quickly satisfied, and very quickly dissatisfied also. So you try to satisfy Lord Shiva." Narad also cited instances wherein demons like Ravan and Banasura were enriched with great opulences simply by satisfying me with prayers. Because the great sage Narad was aware of the nature of the demon Brikasura, he did not advise him to approach Vishnu or Lord Brahma. Persons such as Brikasura, who are situated in the material mode of ignorance, cannot stick to the worship of Vishnu. After receiving instruction from Narad, the demon Brikasura went to Kedarnath. The pilgrimage site of Kedarnath still exists near Kashmir. It is almost always covered by snow, but for part of the year, during the month of July, it is possible to see the deity, and devotees go there to offer their respects. Kedarnath is for my devotees. According to the Vedic principle, when something is offered to the deities to eat, it is offered in a fire. Therefore, a fire sacrifice is necessary in all sorts of ceremonies. It is specifically stated in the Shastras that gods are to be offered something to eat through fire. The demon Brikasura, therefore, went to Kedarnath and ignited a sacrificial fire to please me. After igniting the fire in my name, he began to offer his own flesh by cutting it from his body to please me. Here is an instance of worship in the mode of ignorance. In the Bhagavad-gita, different types of sacrifice are mentioned. Some sacrifices are in the mode of goodness, some are in the mode of passion, and some are in the mode of ignorance. There are different kinds of penance and worship, because there are different kinds of people within this world. But the ultimate penance, Krishna consciousness, is the topmost yoga and the topmost sacrifice. As confirmed in the Bhagavad-gita, the topmost yoga is to think always of Lord Krishna within the heart. And the topmost sacrifice is to perform the Sankirtan Yajna, or chanting the Lord's holy names. Although Vrikasura continued his sacrifice for 6 days, he was unable to personally see me, which was his objective. He wanted to see me face to face and ask me for a benediction. Here is another contrast between a demon and a devotee. A devotee is confident that whatever he offers to the deity in full devotional service is accepted by the Lord. But a demon wants to see his worshipable deity face to face, so that he can directly take the benediction. A devotee does not worship Vishnu or Lord Krishna for any benediction. Therefore, a devotee is called a kama, free of desire, and a non-devotee is called sarvakama, or desirous of everything. On the 7th day, the demon Vrikasura decided that he should cut off his head and offer it to satisfy me. Thus he took a bath in the nearby lake, and without drying his body and hair, he prepared to cut off his head. According to the Vedic system, an animal to be offered as a sacrifice has to be bathed first, and while the animal is wet, it is sacrificed. When the demon was thus preparing to cut off his head, I became very compassionate. My compassion was aroused because the demon was offering his flesh to the sacrificial fire. Even if a common man sees someone preparing to commit suicide, it is his duty to try to save him. He does so automatically. There is no need to appeal to him. Therefore, when I appeared from the fire to check the demon from suicide, it was not a very great favor to him. My touch saved the demon from committing suicide. His bodily injuries immediately healed, and his body became as it was before. Then I told the demon, "My dear Vrikasura, you do not have to cut off your head. You may ask from me any benediction you like, and I shall fulfill your desire. I do not know why you wanted to cut off your head to satisfy me. I become satisfied even by an offering of a little water." Actually, according to the Vedic process, my deity form in the temple is worshipped simply by offering Ganges water, because I am greatly satisfied when Ganges water is poured upon my head. Generally, devotees offer Ganges water and the leaves of the Bilva tree. I assured Vrikasura that I am satisfied by a very simple process of worship. But when I offered this facility to the demon, he asked for a fearful and abominable benediction. The demon was very sinful, and sinful persons do not know what sort of benediction they should ask for. Therefore he asked me to be blessed with such power that as soon as he would touch anyone's head, it would immediately crack, and the man would die. I could understand the motive of the demon, and I was very sorry that I had assured him whatever benediction he wanted. However, I could not withdraw my promise, but I was very sorry in my heart that I was to offer him a benediction so dangerous to human society. Vrikasura, instead of asking me for something beneficial to human society, asked for something very dangerous. The demon, however, being very sinful, immediately decided that he would use the benediction to kill me first, and then take away my wife, Gauri, for his personal enjoyment. So he immediately decided to place his hand on my head. Thus I was put into an awkward position because I was endangered by my own benediction. Without further deliberation, Vrikasura immediately approached me to place his hand on my head. I was so afraid of him that my body trembled, and I fled from the land to the sky, and from the sky to the other planets, until I reached the limits of the universe above the higher planetary systems. I fled from one place to another, but the demon continued to chase me. The predominating deities of other planets, such as Brahma, Indra, and Chandra, could not find any way to save me from the impending danger. Wherever I went, they remained silent. At last I approached Lord Vishnu, who is situated within this universe in the planet known as Shvetadvip. Shvetadvip is the local Vaikuntha or spiritual world planet beyond the jurisdiction of the influence of material energy. Lord Vishnu, in his all-pervasive feature, remains everywhere, but wherever he remains personally is the Vaikuntha or spiritual world atmosphere. In Shvetadvip, there are great saintly persons who are completely freed from the envious nature of the material world and are beyond the jurisdiction of the four principles of material activity, namely religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Anyone who enters into that Vaikuntha planet never returns to this material world. Lord Narayan is celebrated as a lover of his devotees, and as soon as he understood that I was in great danger, he appeared as a brahmachari or celibate student and personally approached me. The Lord appeared as a perfect brahmachari, with a belt around his waist, a sacred thread, a deerskin, a brahmachari stick, and Rodra beads. The shining effulgence emanating from his body attracted not only me, but also the demon. Lord Narayan offered his respects and obeisances to Vrikasura just to attract his sympathy and attention. Thus, checking the demon, the Lord addressed him as follows. "My dear son of Shakuni, you appear very tired, as if coming from a very distant place. What is your purpose? Why have you come so far? I see that you are fatigued, so I request that you take a little rest. You should not unnecessarily tire your body. Everyone greatly values his body, because with this body only, one can fulfill all the desires of one's mind. We should not, therefore, unnecessarily give trouble to this body." The brahmachari addressed Vrikasura as the son of Shakuni just to convince him that he was known to his father Shakuni. Vrikasura then took the brahmachari to be someone known to his family, and therefore the brahmachari's sympathetic words appealed to him. Before the demon could argue that he had no time to take rest, the Lord informed him about the importance of the body, and the demon was convinced. Any man, especially a demon, takes his body to be very important. Thus Vrikasura became convinced about the importance of his body. Then, just to pacify the demon, the brahmachari told him, "My dear Lord, if you think that you can disclose the mission for which you have taken the trouble to come here, maybe I shall be able to help you so that your purpose will be easily served." Indirectly, the Lord informed him that because the Lord is the supreme Brahman, he would certainly be able to adjust the awkward situation created by me. The demon was greatly pacified by the sweet words of Lord Narayan in the form of a brahmachari, and at last he disclosed all that had happened in regard to the benediction offered by me. The Lord replied to the demon as follows: I myself cannot believe that Lord Shiva has in truth given you such a benediction. As far as I know, Lord Shiva is not in a sane mental condition. He had a quarrel with his father-in-law Daksha, and he has been cursed to become a pisacha or ghost. Thus he has become the leader of the ghosts and hobgoblins. Therefore, I cannot put any faith in his words. But if you still have faith in the words of Lord Shiva, my dear king of the demons, then why don't you make an experiment by putting your hand on your own head? If the benediction proves false, then you can immediately kill this liar Lord Shiva, so that in the future he will not dare to give out false benedictions. In this way, by Lord Narayan's sweet words, and by the expansion of his superior illusion, the demon became bewildered, and he actually forgot my power and my benediction. He was thus very easily persuaded to put his hand on his own head. As soon as the demon did that, his head cracked as if struck by thunder, and he immediately died. The demigods from heaven began to shower flowers on Lord Narayan, praising him with all glories and all thanksgiving, and they offered their obeisances to the Lord. On the death of Vrikasura, all the denizens in the higher planetary systems, namely the demigods, the forefathers, the Gandharvas, and the inhabitants of Janaloka, showered flowers on the personality of Godhead. Thus Lord Vishnu, in the form of a brahmachari, released me from the impending danger and saved the whole situation. Lord Narayan then informed me that this demon Vrikasura was killed as a result of his sinful activities. He was especially sinful and offensive because he wanted to experiment on me, his own master. Lord Narayan then told me, My dear Lord, a person who commits an offense to great souls cannot continue to exist. He is vanquished by his own sinful activities, and this is certainly true of this demon who has committed such an offensive act against you. Thus, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, who is transcendental to all material qualities, I, Lord Shiva, was saved from being killed by a demon. Anyone who hears this history with faith and devotion is certainly liberated from the material entanglement as well as from the clutches of his enemies. This story was entitled Lord Shiva Saved from Vrikasura and was presented by Radio Krishna at the KHQN studios in Los Angeles, California. It was derived from the book Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, written by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. founder and spiritual guide of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and was adopted for radio by Amal Bhakta, your narrator. The engineering and musical selections were under the direction of Vaibhavi Devi Dasi.